Welcome back to the Ava Technologies Show. This is episode 4. Thank you for joining us. We've got some exciting things to share and talk about, actually. We're going to dive straight into it. We're the whole sort of, again, if you're new to the show, firstly, give us a like, subscribe, and all those awesome things. Really appreciate it. We're a new show here to give you daily snippets of what's happening in the AI world, and also just technology as a whole, because we love technology. We work in AI and tech, so we're just sharing the snippets and information that we're seeing in the AI space, and it's moving at such a rate. It's a good way for us to keep on top of it and also to share it with you guys. So occasionally we do talk about other things, not just AI, but in the crypto space, maybe robotics at some point, and we'll go from there. But today, we're going to just quickly jump on and talk about something that grabs me particularly, because there's a crossover with crypto, which I'm a big fan of, and also with AI. So interestingly, I was literally listening to Pomp on his podcast show, and he was interviewing the CEO of Tether. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure you do, Tether is the largest stablecoin provider. They're making they're starting to build connections and relationships with countries, America, and all the rest of it. It's pretty impressive. But what grabbed me was really their premise on AI, and they're investing and doing a big push on that front, and they want to, I guess, create a world of decentralized AI that's not centralized, and where all your data is hosted in servers and farmed for whatever reasons. And it's a fascinating podcast. I haven't gone through it all just yet. I was quickly just doing a little bit of research before jumping on here, as we do. We tend to sort of do these videos and these chats with Will very much on the fly. So we're literally absorbing the information and sharing it with you in almost real time. So we haven't sort of properly digested it all. So there's lots more for us to read. But I'd again encourage you guys to go and check it out yourselves. But it's just really, really fascinating, because privacy is certainly something that we're massively passionate about. And for those who don't know, we're building an app, a mental health and wellness app called Ava Mind. And for us, privacy is the number one. Obviously, we're in that mental health space, and it's, we're very mindful of how careful we've got to be, and how important how we've got to do things right. So we're moving into sort of on-device models, and that's a sort of part of our roadmap. So this really struck a chord with me. And it's something we've been talking about, having ultimate privacy rather than trust me bro type scenario. So Will, we're just quickly chatting about that before we jumped on here, and just had a quick chat, didn't we? So what's your take on it?
It's very interesting. I mean, obviously this is much more of an interest. Well, Tether and crypto and this kind of world in technology. I mean, I am interested in it, but it's far more. Obviously, you pioneered this back in the day as well. You were interested in it long before I was, and it's now what I find fascinating is now the crossovers that are happening, particularly around privacy. And I do love to see this. I mean, I'd be interested to know on Tether. Not been a company that's not had its fair share of controversy, but these kind of things, really restore faith in where this technology is going, especially for the crypto world. I think this is a force for good. All these like this idea of on-device AI, privacy, intelligence, this decentralization. I think these are the things that this technology is good for. That is my initial thoughts. It doesn't feel like this article seems to lay out more of a vision for the future, more than stuff that's happening immediately right now, but it's a vision that I like.
Yeah, so just to share you with Will, they've started a company or an entity called QVAC, which you'll see a little bit further down. And so by the sounds of it, they're building out their team. They've got people working on it, and they are sort of, going full steam into it. So there aren't, by the sounds of it, aren't any ways for others to download their models or do anything just yet. But it sounds as though they are full steam ahead in the background, building these things and working on these things. So I've subscribed to the newsletter. I've just got the Tumble Drive just going in the background. I'm just going to turn that off. Give me a sec.
If you thought we were professional podcast video hosts, think again.
I'll probably have my children running behind me and saying, "Daddy, can you, make me bowl of cereal or something in a minute?" Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm gonna sort of dive into this a little bit more. I've popped my email on for updates and things like that, just to sort of keep abreast of what's happening with them. It's really, really interesting, isn't it? Because we and most people mainstream don't really hear about what's happening with this decentralization or on-device models as an alternative. It's all the big boys, out there who are capturing market share ultimately.
Well, you're going to hear all about that in the next couple of stories as well. That's the thing, is at the moment, that's where the money is and where the investment is. However, I'm really happy to see stories like this and also roadmaps like this from companies that are aiming to build out things like local intelligence and decentralization. I do really firmly believe this kind of access to intelligence should be in everybody's pocket and accessible. So it's really awesome to see.
Definitely. And actually, one thing, again, just listening to the Pomp interview, and again, I haven't listened to it all, but he made a really good point about how, if you're going to be, flying to Mars, you're going to have AI models on every bit of kit you need.
Well, you're going to need it.
But they have to be local models. They have to be on-device models, because latency is real. Latency, you're not going to be able to have models working or technology working properly, sending a signal from Mars back to the Earth and then wait for that response to come through. So, I think, it's really interesting. And I think you're absolutely right, Will. I think we are seeing the initial advances of AI and harvesting of data, as big organizations tend to for monetary reasons. But I think that the trajectory has to be privacy first, on device first, decentralization. And that's something that we're passionate about.
Absolutely. Amazing. I think that summarizes it very nicely. Should we move on to the...
Let's move on. I haven't done the timer. We're so disorganized today.
Okay.
Usually we have a 5-minute timer for each.
I quite like the passion. I quite like going through and make sure we cover the story properly as well, So
this is true.
It's really good. Cool. So the next article is, we've had actually 2 really big developments within the AI world as well. Probably more that I like looking at the things like the Tether story, because as you said, most people probably haven't heard of it, and it's not as mainstream, but I think it should be. So it's really interesting, because the next 2 stories are from mainstream companies. The first one's from OpenAI, and the second one's from Google DeepMind. Which one would you like to hear about first, Ben?
Oh, let's go for Google.
Google's one is really, really good. I mean, this is another one. Let me share the screen here and put it up on the stream. Let's go for that view, I think. Perfect. So this is a new product from Google DeepMind, which is revealing a model called Genie 3, which they're dubbing a world model. Now, that's kind of crazy. I mean, what do they mean by a world model? And it literally is as it sounds. You type in a text prompt, and you don't get like a video out the other side. You don't get photos out the other side. You literally get a 3D interactive real-time simulation, literally a world which you can explore
of the world
of whatever you've described, So I'll come down and show you some examples here.
Yeah, so I was wondering if they're sort of leveraging off their Google Maps and their,
this can be whatever you would like.
Data and information they've got from. Wow.
So this is obviously some sort of barren volcano land on a rover.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, and genuinely, you type in what you'd like. You could say, I want to walk along Camden Canal. Here's a bunch of examples in this video as well. You know, how it generates these 3D worlds which you can explore. And it's totally real time. Let me find this. Like, this looks a little bit reminiscent of Camden Canal. But this is, you type that in, it's generative. It's not generating a video. After the fact, you can explore it. You can add extra prompts to have things come through it. It's got memory.
For those who are wondering why I'm laughing, and if you were listening to just on the podcast, it was somebody walked by. It was a walk through Camden Canal with these random, I don't even know what to describe them. A chicken running along, a human-sized chicken or something. Was it? I can't remember.
Yeah. Hopefully they can see it up on the screen now. But this is the premise. You type in what you want. It real-time generates a simulation which you can explore. It's got physics. It's got lighting. It's everything. It's world for all intents and purposes. And it's not a video. You can explore it and you can add elements. You can take away elements, all in real time. It's got memory. So if you paint on the wall and then turn away and then look back, it remembers it's there. It's a really one of those, again, another one of those open mouth moments that I always find when you look, like, you're like, wow, this is where this technology is going. And it's got so many applications. But obviously the most novel one, or the most obvious one, sorry, not novel, the most obvious one is like game development. You can just describe the game that you want and you can jump in and play it. I'm envisioning in the future. But also in a practical commercial sense is, for example, like Mars missions. You can generate a real-time simulation of Mars, let the AI or the rover in there and test out scenarios in real time before you ever have to go on the mission. Again, even less like space exploration, for example, training for firefighters or something like that. Training for construction is you can be put in these real world simulations that someone can control with text prompts and get sort of that experience. It's amazing stuff. I can't state how impressed I am by this kind of thing.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think what's really interesting, isn't it? Like all this technology, we're trying to figure out what the applications are. I always tend to come back to what is the product going to be. As for the real world case, what real world cases are there? What real world problems can we solve? And these technologies are phenomenal. But then your brain goes, "Whoa, what do we use it for? What are the possible applications?" And I think that's where a lot of innovation will also come out of. People are trying to say, "Well, I can do this now. But what am I going to do with it?" That's the challenge, isn't it?
Absolutely. So no, absolutely amazing stuff. It's a huge leap forward. They released Genie 2, which was the previous generation, which was equally amazing at the time. That was 6 months ago or so, probably a little bit more than. And this is the innovation that's come forward in the 6-8 months is just absolutely unbelievable. It's not released to the public yet. Neither was Genie 2. I'm very excited for it to be. I'd love to give it a go. I think many people would love to give it a go. I mean, you can imagine like the weirdness of being able to generate your own games and all in real time and live in your own worlds. It's mind blowing.
It is for sure. Right, moving on to the next story, next headline. What have we got, Will?
This one is slightly more techy, so this one is slightly less applicable to everybody, but a very big piece within the AI news. Again, if you're within AI, you'll definitely have heard of this already, which is OpenAI released their very first open source model in 5 years. 2 actually. That's a big one, which was 120 billion parameters, and a smaller one, which was 20 billion parameters. And it remains to be seen how good these models are. I've tested it in the time it's been out, which is a couple of days, and I find it very, very, very powerful. It can run on device. It also runs very cheap in the cloud as well. They are, for what it's worth, very small models, and the performance is approaching that of O4 Mini, which is some of their most frontier reasoning models. So this is an amazing release. It's totally open weight. It's got an Apache license on it, Apache 2 license on it, so anyone can access it, modify it, and I think this will really spur on research, and development across the whole industry.
Amazing.
It is.
And how does with obviously OpenAI's open source model, what we've just sort of learned about Tether. how does that sort of play into our roadmap for Ava Minds?
I think it further paints the picture. I think OpenAI have done this because it's pressure to do so, especially with China. They release a lot of open source models, so I think there is pressure to do it to, keep up with that and keep up the good image, of not having closed AI. For us, though, as consumers or lower down the chain in the commercial chain, I think this is only amazing for us. This is the way I think that it's going. It's getting smaller and smaller and more accessible. And as you said, I think there's a use cases for it. If you're thinking about space missions or any of these sort of more extreme cases, you can't have you can't be pinging servers because the latency just won't work. You've got to run these models locally. Again,
and also, sorry, Will, carry on.
No, you carry on. No,
I was just going to say, I mean, we talked about crazy thoughts and people going, well, mission to Mars is just ridiculous, or it doesn't affect me. I'm not really interested, and it does sound ridiculous. Let's be honest, but it will happen. But the latency issue, or not being able to have an AI work, is real on Earth. I mean, there's plenty of places on Earth where there's no signal, there's no internet, the internet signal's weak. I mean, geez, even in the UK, I'm often, sort of trying to do something if I'm out and about, and the internet, I can't do it. So it's we live in allegedly a first world country. Seems to be going down the pan a little bit, but that's what we're not talking about that on this podcast.
Not talking politics, Ben. We're talking tech.
Oh my God, I try to avoid it. It just winds me up. I try to block all that noise out because it's just awful. So let's not go there. But it's real, isn't it? And if you could have AI and working without needing any of that, that's just phenomenal.
I think there's those extreme use cases, as we said, that I think seals the deal for where this technology is going. But right now, even this is a really cool release, and it really is pushing the boundaries of intelligence and what can be run on local hardware. But again, even now, even before this, even a year ago, there are small models that can run on phones, that can run on computers, and it's crazy. Even these models, at the idea of that, like condensed Wikipedias, is you can have access to a humongous amount of information, and it's local to your machine. You don't need an internet connection. You don't need to ask permission for it. Again, in the UK, there's even censorship laws now coming in that's blocking, access to Wikipedia if it's deemed mature content. Yeah. So this is where politics does overlap tech a little bit, but this is the case. It's blocking access to information, and this kind of thing helps bypass that. It's got its own issues with censorship as well, especially the OpenAI models. One of the big criticisms of these latest released ones is that they're heavily censored and the alignment is overdone, to say a little bit of the least. Whether, again, in normal day-to-day tasks where I'm using it for coding, I haven't felt that, but in general conversation, then that's been reported. But still, the premise is there, is if you're in control of it, there are models that don't have these limitations. And I really do believe access to information is important, and this is going to be a key way to make sure that people have it, across the world.
100%, and that really to sort of full circle back to that whole Tether story right at the beginning with decentralized AI, privacy, and all the rest of it. It's so important and something that people should not take for granted and be very, very mindful of.
Absolutely.
Really fascinating. Well, brilliant. Well, let's we wrap it up there. We'll sort of a bit of a shorter one today. Still almost 20 minutes to be fair, but hopefully you guys got something out of it. But as usual, like, subscribe to all those awesome things. Really appreciate your support. Again, we're a new channel, but otherwise we'll catch up with you tomorrow.
I've got to do it. I've got to do the overlay. Where is it?
Oh, okay. Don't go yet.
Like and subscribe. I still get better. I do like it.
I know. It's trying to multitask, isn't it? Trying to sort of do actions and think and talk, and
I know. It's harder than it looks.
Awesome. All right, guys. Take care.
Thanks for watching.